This podcast is and will always be about celebrating our culture. So, joke is joke, but first things must always come first because priorities is priorities. And today we're here to celebrate the life of the great Winston Henry, the explainer.
I think if you had to describe the explainer, the messenger, you'd have to call you the uncrowned king. That was probably the most fitting title that you won or shared.
Well, I thank you very much because I will accept that title because I think every man is a king in his own right because of what he's doing. And whether he's crowned or he's dubbed or whatever. But I really appreciate that title, the uncrowned king.
Oh, God.
Better wake up, I need a jet plane to take me non-stop. I can't stay in New York City when there's sunshine and fun in my country. Lions is the place with the jamming, with Carrie and Charlie's roots clashing. Everyone happy partying, and I'm freezing in.
Sing it.
Going to cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming. We're gonna steel band beating and woman background shaking. With the gun bite your baby, then you could come and join me inside Kateri steel band, jamming with some man woman.
Somebody woman yo. Somebody woman yo. I can't stop it anyway, it's how to play. In this episode, you're gonna hear about 100 explainers, I can't stop.
Lauren, you'll take it easy. I don't mean to hurt you, baby. The coldness making me shiver, and back home it hot like fire. That is why I said the next jet plane must take me to Port of Spain, where all my fans are waiting, preparing for Juve morning. This jamming, with all them steel band beating, and woman background shaking. When the dog bite you, baby, then you could come and join me inside Kateri steel band, jamming with some man woman.
Hey, this song is from 1982. Most of the people listening here ain't born when this song was a hit. And hear how fresh and nice it's singing. Up to today. The man name is Explainer, the messenger, and you will struggle to find a next song as vivid as this.
My mind is made up. Airport Kennedy would be my next stop. Don't cry and try to convince me, cause my suitcase done pack already. And if you start feeling lonely and mass fever vibrating your body, just make a quick reservation and touch down in the land of steel band. This jamming, with all them steel band beating, and woman background shaking. If the bug bite you, baby, then you could come and join me inside Kateri steel band, jamming with some man woman.
Somebody woman, boy.
Don't cry, honey. You go see me Ash Wednesday. Lauren, don't cry, I'm leaving. This jamming, with all them steel band beating, and woman background shaking.
When the bug bites you, baby,
then you could
come and join me
inside the Kateri steel band, jamming with some man woman.
Welcome to episode 100, and I think it's 118 of the Curry Shepherd podcast. Listen, this podcast is not too much explaining today because it's about Explainer, the messenger. As I said, when you listen to his songs, including Lauren, it's hard to find somebody who could paint a picture as vivid as the songs that he sings. We will get through some of them today. But I wanna just make sure we know who the man is, the legend that is Explainer. The man's biggest song, the biggest line in the biggest song is "Don't cry, I'm leaving." And so we can't cry. Just last week I was talking to my mother about going to Explainer concert next month, November this year. And the last thing I was telling her is, nah boy, we had to go to that concert. I had to get to talk to him. That's somebody I had to talk to. And boy, well, listen, when the door knock, I don't think anybody expected this, so they threw the whole fraternity into mourning. But people who might not been around or might not appreciate him for more than just Lauren. You get a lesson here. The great Dominic Calypso said right. Winston Explainer Henry had a 53-year career as a calypsonian. He was best known for Lauren in 82, Rasmus in 81, and Kickson in Parliament in 1979. He was highly popular with the public, who dubbed him the messenger for addressing the ills of society and the plight of the poor. His albums were often a mix of social commentary and risque or party tunes. Guys, one of the things that make the man greater, because he find a way to sing party songs and social commentary, and in a lot of ways in some of these songs, the pace he used to sing them at and the way he would deliver the song, he was partying to some social commentary with some of these songs, and I will go through some of them. He joined the Mighty Sparrows original brigade in 1975, singing his first popular song, Man and Wages, followed by Mr. African in 1976, which got him into the national semi-finals. In 77, Caribbean Integration took him to his first national finals, after which he made it to the national finals 10 times. That's the monarch we're talking about, right? He might have the record for the person who made the most consecutive monarchs, from 77 all the way to, well, if you say 10 times, it's 87. I thought it would have been 84, but if Dominic Calypso had say 77 and 10 times, it's 10 times, right? His 1977 hit, Them With Dread, may well be considered as the first raga soca song. Another dimension of the man, when you listen to his music, they have a strong reggae influence, a strong level of consciousness in the way he delivers his, in the way he writes and delivers his songs. So giving him the title as the first raga soca artist, and it might be the reason you would have seen so many collaborations with him with artists who we might know better. You know what I mean? Some of the younger artists. I will get to that. Explainer hit the big time in the 80s when he turned to ace producer Ralston Charles at the famous Charlie's Records in Brooklyn, New York, to produce classics such as Rasmus and the immortal Lauren. Lauren gained some international attention, making the British charts at position number 35 when it was released in 1982. Last July, BBC News' Ross Atkins featured it on BBC's Radio 6 Music's Summer Sound Clash. Explainer stopped competing in 98 and went on to perform in Europe, North America, South America, and throughout the Caribbean. If you look up his discography, this man have albums. Among the albums he would have produced. To run his appeal, he did collaborations with soca artists such as Bunji Garlin, Jojo, Blacks, I remember MX Prime, Farmer Nappy, Nelly Cotoy. He also continued to compose for several performers such as Rondell Donowell, Lady Adana, Lady Melody, Queen Victoria, Twiggy, and Joan Foster. Last attached to the Kaiso House tent, Explainer was the recipient of the Hummingbird Gold Medal in 2018 for his contribution to Calypso. If you're listening to this podcast, you know how I feel about these things, right? Hummingbird Gold. He died today at October 7th. To give credit for where Dominic Calypso got it, he says a video extract from Tuku Vintage Concert 2010. And I want to give credit to Alvin Daniel as well. If you remember Calypso Showcase, I want to say that a lot of times when I had to find information for this podcast, a lot of it has come from When Steel Talks. If I'm not giving credit, I want to give some credit now, right? I try to give credit every time I find it. But When Steel Talks, Alvin Daniel Calypso Showcase, you get good nuggets from him talking to the artists, and he's there with most of the Calypsonians that we know. My mother and father always call Omari Ashby as opposed this week. I'm so grateful when I could reach out to people to get information as powerful as this. There are some songs that he sang as a messenger, a revolutionary. One in particular, which I will play, is called Not Me and the Monarchy, right? And he never win the Calypso Monarch. So if you hear Alvin Daniel telling him, you know, you're the king without a crown, you're the people's king, but you never get crown. And he said you'll accept that. As he said, every man is a king in their own right. And one of the things about that song, Not Me and the Monarchy, I believe that would be 80 or 81. And that was before Lauren. He was really protesting about the idea that scouting for talent. Was scouting for talent with Holly B. So, do you remember Holly B? He was protesting that the prize money for scouting for talent was actually bigger than the prize money for the Calypso Monarch. So the song Not Me and the Monarchy was really saying that basically, what is the point of me fighting up with the Monarch title? What's the point of fighting up with that when Holly B, Scouting for Talent, was winning a vehicle worth about $45,000 according to him, and the Monarch at the time was getting $3,000. Now, think about that for a second, right? $3,000 means men like Duke, who win 4 times, get a total of $12,000. And he talking about $3,000 in the late 70s, coming up to 1980. So I couldn't imagine that the prize money was so small. So a lot of the artists now who walking away, as a little boy Snakey again, walking away $200,000 last week for the Jubilee Monarch. I could never get that right, you know. The Calypso Monarch thing that had to do with the independence now. Glad for him at $200,000 to win for that, and we'd have seen the Calypso Monarch price go as high as $1 million, I believe. And several vehicles given away over the years. You had to thank somebody like Explainer for that, for coming up and talking about it and saying basically, hey, why are you talking about this song when this song here to play?
Ladies and gentlemen, the man and the moment you've all been waiting for, the Explainer!
This is what I'm talking about, social commentary, but here vibes and tempo in his song.
This is the Crown of Thorns. A message to the Canada Development Committee.
Yes.
Every day people telling me I throw away the monarchy, the wrong song I choose to sing. That's how Stalin come to win. I said, don't be angry, that crown means nothing to me. That is a crown of thorns, it kills the Calypsonian. I tell them,
yes, that is the problem.
Why be a monarchy and live in a shanty?
Oh,
Not me and the monarchy, not me.
you see scouting with Holly B, value more than the monarchy.
Not me and the monarchy, not me. I know the king and Calypso does be treated like a puppy show.
Yes.
With no home for their family, the title they give to me has no gain financially. The queen of better village just smiled she way across the stage. Yep. She's given a Toyota to drive straight out of the savannah. I tell them that is the problem. If they believe in, well, continue singing. Not me and the monarchy, not me. You see scouting with Holly B, value more than the monarchy. Not me and the monarchy, not me. I know the king and Calypso does be treated like a puppy show.
That is the problem. I can't stop this night, Hey, music number.
You had to bring the stars down. Regardless of what you sing, there was someone else to win. The king Calypsonian can't get as much as the chairman. He collecting all the dough and can't write a line in Calypso. I tell them, that is the problem. If they believe in, well go and ask Stalin. Not me and the monarchy, not me. You see scouting with Holly B, value more than the monarchy. Not me and the monarchy, not me. I know the king of Calypso does be treated like a puppy show.
Greatness of the man. So we have plenty to thank him for and to celebrate for, just to celebrate his life and to thank him for singing songs like these, because Sissons that year, and they say he takes some flack, right? All this coming from Alvin Daniel interview from Calypso Showcase. They say he takes some flack and they're telling him how he saying not he and the monarchy, but he in the Calypso Monarch competition, and he sang a last verse that said, yes, me and the monarchy. But the point he was trying to make is that his rise up against this, or his resistance against the idea of the monarch, the king of the carnival, being treated so poorly in terms of the prize money. His way of resisting it and singing this song led to Sisson stepping in and giving $25,000 for the first prize for the Calypso Monarch. Now, that little interview teach me a lot about why Marshall could get the Hummingbird Gold. I don't want to beat this over and over and sound like a broken record, but if the Calypso Monarch had moved from if the Calypso Monarch only gets $3,000 and then somebody, a private entity, had to step in to make it $25,000 in what would be the golden era of Calypso, then something ain't right, something not right, and it shows that at the end of the day we really don't value who we have. But some early influences on Explainer Life, according to him, were artists like Superior, Valentino, Prowler, Relator, some of the greats in the art form, and you could hear it in the composition of his music, not just the lyrics. I want you to listen to his songs, to how simple the lyrics are. Go back and listen to Lorraine. As I say, it's a piece of artwork, Lorraine, isn't it? And when they were talking about him being on BBC, salute my boy Zola had sent me a clip last week from BBC. I'm frightened to play it because I pulled down from YouTube business, right? Once you touch BBC and them thing, you're gone. But the guy was saying that he bounced up or came across this song from Explainer, and when he checked the history of the song and so on, he had it down as one of the great compositions in music in any genre. I think it easily is. If you had to choose some of the greatest calypsos of all time, I remember playing this Lorraine for Independence, talking about, I was trying to say that independence is not just about nation building songs, it's about songs that make you feel very Trinbagonian. And I think Lorraine is just one of those songs that any Trini could relate to that. Once again, for Trini who living out in the cold, salute to everybody who living in Germany and who's listening to this from London and Canada and New York and all over these states, and Texas, you know what I mean? I know Texas cold or it's hot. Wherever it is not Trinidad, right? And I know what it feels like from being abroad for a little while when you know mass playing in Trinidad and you have to work. I remember being in Jamaica, which is nothing compared to being in Germany and these places. And just missing the essence of Carnival. And I remember getting up to go to work in Kingston on a Carnival Monday morning and feeling sick. Them days I don't even play mass, so I don't know what was bothering me so bad. I think it's just the idea that I was not a part of it and not going to be a part of it. I just couldn't take it. So we're here again to celebrate the life of the great Explainer. And as he would put his stories in song and paint these vivid pictures, no one knows the hour nor the minute. Nobody can tell. You could plan for what you want. We say we're going and taking Explainer next month, and look at this. The next day, we come and see news that Explainer passed away. Shocking. But I want you to listen to this song, how he document this.
This song is specially dedicated to the high and the mighty, the weak and the strong, to everyone, everywhere.
Name of the song is When Basil Come, right? Listen carefully.
Whenever death comes,
yes,
as you know he must, I say, would you beg for time to straighten a few things first? Would you say he's impertinent? He should have make appointment. Beggars lying all about, with fly buzzing round them out. Would you tell Basil go and check them out? Cause he don't go back once he comes.
Yes.
He don't take bribe of cash, no rum. If you just underpay or get short weight every day, fix that before he come. I say confess before death come. No, no, la, la, la. That comes, as you know he must. I say, would you watch the guy just so and start to cuss? Would you say you were kind to neighbors, you never give them horrors? Or you always used to maintain your outside child? Cause he don't go back once he comes. He don't take bribe of cash, no rum. If you're a bad policeman who shoot to get promotion, fix that before he comes. I say confess before death comes. Death comes, as he must someday, would you be able, friend, to turn to the guy and say, the many homes you have broken, so much of lies you have spoken, the different candles that you light to make your neighbor life a blight, check yourself and make sure your business right. Cause he don't go back once he comes. He don't take bribe of cash, no rum. So if you just underpay or get short weight every day, fix that before he comes. I say confess before death comes.
So listen, we must celebrate, hear that song, hear lyrics. We must celebrate that and celebrate explainer, understanding that with a song like that, you know, is a man who figure out a way to walk in the right path before his exit. You're not sending them kind of message and then walking away from it. And as we're talking about explainer, I want to take a quick minute too, because my brethren in Fatima end up thrown into mourning in this week as well. With this is a Fatima legend I'm going to talk about, right? If you never went Fatima, just listen to legend. The dude, I don't know him playing football. I don't know what it is he used to stand out for in school at all, right? The man is just a legend. The man is everybody friend, a man by the name of Peanut. Son Joseph is his name. Peanut is who everybody know him by. And he was just that dude in school. Sometimes in school, they have a fellow who is just that guy. And Peanut was that. I ever tell you Peanut beat me up at time? Listen, a day I walk in going out the road, right? If you know Fatima, when you're leaving Fatima to walk across the road, the first place you had to pass through by the study hall, right? A little driveway by study hall. And I walking out there. And me and Peanut, I make for. As far as I know, me and Peanut, no problems. In Fatima is a jail, right? So you never know what's going to go down. But me and Peanut, no problems on nothing. Me and Peanut, I make for. Peanut say, we're watching me for now. Peanut, they with his squad of them fellas are a year older than me in school. So he with his crew. But I think it is a cool scene when I watch Peanut. Peanut say, we watching me for. And promptly run up and hit me some of the hardest bellas and cough. Just beat me up like for no. I am so much a shock. A part of me want to swing back, but a part of me saying, this is Peanut. Peanut, he's short, but he built, he muscular. And you have a little badness, you have a little charge up in him, you know what I mean? Even if his mouth alone, I frighten like hell. So I want to, I turn around to Peanut like, what's that one dog? Boy, more licks. As soon as I turn and say that is more like, I say, I just keep it pushing because I know it have no end to that fight with Peanut. Me know who go win the fight, but money was on Peanut. But I know it have no end. That is fight every single day. He's just that kind of guy, that kind of legend. And it teach me a good little lesson to it. Number one, to protect your neck. But secondly, a few days after that, now, understand that when that happened, and I watching Peanut now, I frightened in school every day from that moment on it because say, boy, Peanut could just beat me for the rest of his life. This guy is that kind of guy. And I see him coming and I sit down, but you can't show no fear, right? So I just sit down, cool as ever. And he come and he sit down next to me quiet. Now he beat me in front of the whole school. Everybody see and everybody laugh and everybody talk about as a coward and Peanut beat me up. But he come very, very easy next to me a day and say, my brother, I want to apologize to you. You know what I mean? A mistake. I was on a bad day. I mistake you for something. Some story he gave me. But the most important thing is that he apologized and he make it square. But he don't know how relieved I was in that moment that it was square now, because I was never going to do Peanut nothing. I was just trying to avoid him for the rest of my school life because me ain't taking no more beat up. And it teach me an important lesson in life. Sometimes the embarrassment is coming public and the apologies come in private. And boy, to tell you the truth, a lot of people want to come and say, hey, well, you embarrass me in public, especially in this social media era. And he was a man who big on social media too, you know, because next day I posting something about Chelsea or any football thing. If you're posting about football online, you know Peanut going to run up in your comments and tell you knows nothing about Chelsea. I'm a big Chelsea fan, eh? But he will let you know that he knows nothing about Chelsea. Barca is the worst. Man, you and them is dog. Listen, is the longest. He can't even read the full post that Peanut read. He willing to debate or engage with anybody. And I know he went through some medical issues, and you know what I mean. I just, in my mind, he overcome that, and it's just good to see the brother up and about and around, you know what I mean? So some men in his ear would have been men like Purcell, men like Timke, Imran Daniel, the old Amos, Maurice Burke, Kwame. It's just a bunch of men, and them fellas and them seem to have stuck together over the years and remain friends. So having, to me, gotten over whatever medical issue it is, and then to find out that it's a tragic accident that take his life. Like, you just see him posting over the weekend there, and then you come and you see news that he passed away. So I just want to take this moment to say rest in peace to the great Peanut, the old Gangali, and condolences to his family first and foremost, but of course the Fatima family who would be in mourning at this time. The man was the old Gangali. So by right, I had to dedicate this song to him from the great explainer.
Forward Rastafari, I'm man forward into a higher region. For 81, big procession for the first ever Rasta band. All Rast brothers and the daughters will be under heavy manna. No vulgarity in the band. Everyone chanting hand in hand, and they singing Rasmas is a high mass. It's real class. We play with Jaja. No banky, neither no whiskey. Just feel free. Everybody Irish. Hey! Incense burning, people chanting songs of inspiration. Unital, strictly natural, from pumpkin to provision. Even boys could join the band, long they follow regulation, and they chanting Rasmas is a high mass. It's real class. We played with Jaja, no bandy, neither no whiskey. Just feel free, everybody Irish. Hey! Oh, ah, oh, All the children, men and women, from various sections, is canting, burning something, is peace and love in the band. No kind of indecency,
Just feel free, everybody irie. So we're wrapping up that with a salute to the great explainer, national legend and the great peanut, a Fatima legend, a legend all around, the old gangali. Rest in peace to them and condolences to their families. Now moving on to another topic here that came up this week where people seem to be in an opera. It seems as though Nicki Minaj can't do much without people being in an opera, to be honest, because she came out with a song this week that had Patrice Roberts, Pampute, Spice, Dovey Magnum, Destra, London Hill, Lisa Mercedes, and Lady Leshurr, and Skeng. Now, the song was really, promoted as a Caribbean anthem and a woman's anthem and women empowerment. So I don't know how Skeng reach anything, but if you know me, anything Skeng do good by me, you know what I mean? Well, most things that Skeng do good by me. I like Skeng, right? But people started to make some fuss locally here about the artist and the song. And to be honest with you, I find this song okay. I find it decent. I mean, left up to me, I just find there's too much going on in this song. Maybe you just choose too much artists. Let me start by the grateful part, right? I'm very grateful that Nicki Minaj was able to point out and single out a lot of Caribbean artists, including Destra and Patrice Roberts, to feature on a new song. And whether you like this song or not, any look at that level is a good look for all the artists who are on this, right? But one of the things about putting a song together with so many different people, I think at least the artists who I know on this list, most of them is headliners already. You know what I mean? Spice, Destra, Patrice Roberts. Maybe I'm going too far because Pampute could carry her own show. Dovey Magnum, I don't want to be disrespectful to nobody, but a lot of these artists are headliners already. So when you put them, so many of them on a song, it's like, how do you end up standing out? Or what does the song stand for? At one point, I was thinking, like, I just listening to random verses that people put together. Maybe it was just too much going on in this song. I hear some people complaining too that Destra, they ain't like how they put the Trinis last, you know what I mean? And listen, DJ Khaled put Jay-Z last and God did, and Jay-Z, like, people fast forwarding Rick Ross and Lil Wayne verse to get to that Jay-Z verse and play it forever because it's like 1,000 bars. I don't see no issue with her putting the soca artists and them last and the thing. I don't think there's any disrespect. I feel people like we be looking for reasons to say that Nicki Minaj don't like Trinidadians, but I mean, she's put Trinidad out there, I find. She like Jamaica too, but me too. You know what I mean? So there are more Jamaican artists on it. We wanted her to do a whole soca collaboration. Maybe one day she will do that. But I will say that for the two parts that most interesting to me, which is Destra and Patrice Roberts, firstly, I find Destra hold her own. It's new to hear that. I mean, I shouldn't say it's new because Destra know how to chant, and Destra is an artist, right? A true artist and a true performer. So even if she chanting or rapping or whatever, it will sound good. I know she said she got her verse written for her. And I find she delivered the verse good. But now we're not accustomed here in soca artists. That was one of the people complained to her because we're not accustomed here in soca artists sing zest type of singing. And you know, sometimes you hold Destra and then on such a platter, I always call it a pedestal, that you don't expect Destra to say certain things. You know what I mean? Destra getting old, you know what I mean? You don't expect certain things to come up from Destra. But my thing is like, why not? An artist is a full canvas, you know what I mean? An artist should have a full canvas and express themselves however they feel to express themselves, you know what I mean? The song, if she couldn't go in a song and lame out the whole song because you know what Spice and Pampute and Dovey Magnum and them coming to sing. You can't just be in the end of the song and you lame out your verse. Why find Destra stamp good? Salute to Destra. And to me, Patrice Roberts' part of the song is the best part because Patrice Roberts give you a couple bars singing and then a few rapping lines and them. I find the song good. If I had to put together a song like this, I'm wondering like when Patrice come up with a little hook or a little singing part like that. You know, a lot of even when you look at that God Did collaboration, right? Granted, it's 3 people and it's 3 rappers who have a huge story to tell. When you talk about God Did and the type of verse that Jay-Z was singing about his whole career and his achievements and all that. Rick Ross and Lil Wayne could tell similar stories of what Jay-Z would have told because of how long they're in the business and the level of success they've achieved and all that. So the song had a clear theme, right? That God Did song. But also there's this Friday. It's Friday. How you say it? But he sang a little hook with, I know God did. That, to me, put together the whole song. None of the 3 verses wasn't great from the 3 great men. But it keep this song with a little theme and they play that God Did thing. And even if you can't rap along with everything, that little hook keep it going. So when I hear Patrice Roberts' part quiet down in the end, I couldn't understand why they didn't take that and use that as part of the hook so that he could play that before everybody verse and maybe select 4 people, you know what I mean? So that it's a song that we could finish listening to at some point in time in this life, you know what I mean? In this microwave era. But all that said, I mean, salute to Nicki Minaj. She didn't have to do this. She mentioned Ninja Man very early in the verse, and she says her again, back to her roots and finding herself back. And if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the first songs she would have put out post Baby and all that. So I don't know if this is the first of an album to come or whatever it might be. But I'm glad to see Nicki Minaj was pulling out Destra and Patrice for this. I think sometimes we forget that she came here and she do collaborations, and she had Marshall and Bungie and Fayan in the videos before. So I don't know where this rhetoric coming from that Nicki Minaj not Trinidadian because she likes to big up Jamaicans. I kind of like it. Yeah, I like to big up Jamaicans too, and it's part of what I do. I see some people complaining too that one of the things that has happened to us when we go on foreign collaborations is that we lose our Trinidadian accent, right? I think maybe sometimes it's the fitting, it's the, you know what I mean, not sung too far from from who we are. I'm not sure what it is. Not who we are, but not sung too far from what the theme of the song is and them things. But to be honest, and you know I will be biased about this, right? But I find our accent real bad. You see, our accent is the thing. We holding back on our accent that the rest of the world want to hear. The rest of the world interested in hearing our accent and hearing more of our accent. And we seem to want to morph into some combination of Jamaican and American when we get on international collaboration. And my belief is that if we just stick to ourselves, like just be who we are, I feel we will sell much further into the international market. So we do 2 things, right? When we get on international collaborations, we tend to give away our accent or lose it or water it down. And when we sing songs that are intended for the international market, we also tend to slow down on our accents a little bit, even our slangs and the way we talk. And you know what I mean? We tend to throw that away for foreign slangs. Like you say plenty blood clots and we don't cuss in our own language on songs that are designed for foreign markets. And to be honest with you, I think it's a mistake, you know, because I want to go back to the episode that the man who this episode is livelicated to, and just tell it like, Lauren, you better wake up. I need a jet plane to take me non-stop. I can't stay in New York City when it's a sunshine on something in my country. Lions is the place for the jamming, with Kalyan and Charlie's Dutch clashing. Everyone busy partying, and I freezing in Brooklyn. Even the way he say Airport Kennedy, it's just the way Trinidad say, boy, I'm going Kennedy. That's how we talk. Like, why we don't take what we have that nobody else can copy and put that in the international market and let them do what they want with it when they get. But we seem to think that we have to adjust ourselves to what the international market had to provide. And my feeling is that, all right, so explainer might be for younger people, right? Older people understand what I'm talking about when I talk about explainer verse. But I want to play a verse from somebody for you who don't lose his accent at all and who is easily one of the fastest rising stars in Trinidad and Tobago. Mind you, he don't sing too much of gunting and thing neither. The man just is vibes. And I want it to be known that I'm following this guy from Red Block days till the wall behind him start to get shiny. And it's the same 3 people who was in the Red Block days, unfinished floors. You know what I mean? Men in vest smoking. The same 3 people with him there. But I want you to hear his accent. And the man know how to make a hit, you know, because this is a hit to hear the accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
She just feeling dagger, feeling for dagger, baby in your belly, and you baby father when the baby born dada. Oh God, you just feeling for dagger.
Let me hear it again. Let me hear it.
Hey, hold on. Where's she on? You just hearing dagger and feeling for dagger, baby in your belly, and you baby father when the baby born dada. You just...
The man no lose nothing when it comes to the Trinidadianness. Go back to any one of his verses, anything that he sing. The man is the most Trinidadian man in these entertainment streets right now. So I want to challenge all our artists, right? to follow the youth. And just when you're going on a track, just sing like how you sing. Use your normal voice. Use your normal slangs. Oh God, I'm just feeling for that. Well, pause, right? Not me, right? But use your normal slangs and just talk how we talk, and you might find that we will go further and further. More on the youths. I see Travis will tweet this and I mean, the man get a lot of flack. Flack on the internet. I wonder if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Because when you see you do things that end up going viral online, I think it could only do good for you as a young entertainer or musician, you know, or DJ or producer, or whatever Travis Will is. He said, I'm so happy to see soca artists doing explicit music now. Let me try that again. I'm so happy to see these soca artists doing explicit music now. About time they started expressing themselves. For too long, the older generation has been stifling us and making us feel bad for doing explicit soca. Well, you know, when I was reading this before and again ready to talk about this, now I realize while I read it live, the older people talking about is we. The older people talking about is we who. And I interested to hear more about this, like who is stifling soca artists or young producers, because this is something that is always said in soca music and maybe in entertainment on a whole, but particularly in soca and calypso. Somebody always fighting down somebody. You always find that somebody singing, boy, listen, they're fighting we down and them fellas stifling us. And I don't know. Some of the comments were saying that they don't agree. They don't find soca should have cussing. So one person is Burner's left-hand dumpling. She said, how much cussing you want, Travis? Especially in Trinidad, where there's little left to the imagination. Double entendre is a main element of calypso, not so much soca. Or soca as well, I would say. If all you could do is curse and for shock factor and it adds nothing to the music, best you sing. That's just laziness in my opinion. Boy, how people feel about this? Like, should we encourage hardcore cussing in soca, or should soca get more like zest? Because zest seems to be catching a length. Should it get more like zest where we just sing the most explicit things? I might be one of these old people because I will never stifle anybody, right? Or youth particularly. I find if you're young and you're a producer or you're an entertainer and you feel like you want to sing and cuss and like you should do all that. You should cuss and sing the most explicit lyrics and things. Don't expect me to listen to that because let me put it this way. At my age, my ears get sensitive. I like all the gunman music and all the explicit and lewd music I could have listened to when I was young. And the worse it was is the more I like it. So I understand youths and why they like zest and them thing now. I just can't listen to it for too long. Let me talk about the gunman part. To me, the gunman part, depressing. The melodies they use, the way they do the rhythms is all dark and it's very, very depressing. That's the thing with youth music now. I think these youths depressed. So they just listen to the darkest of the music they could find. And for the girl one now, they're just a little too sharp for my ears, as my girl say here on Twitter. Listen, I need a little more to the imagination. Yes, I can't take listening to too much of that. I just feel away when I start to hear, you know, I just like, why would you say? It's not for me. Now, again, I'm not saying this to say that they should ban that or they should stifle Travis. I find like Travis, you bring a rhythm where everybody cussing stink. And if you like that, you go and listen to that. But I don't know how it will sound. Because on that Nicki Minaj track, Destra and Patrice, I think it was a little lewd, you know what I mean? But I find it was tasteful. I find they do it well. They didn't do it didn't do it as bad as some of the young zest artists doing it, or Trinidad artists, I should say. But you had to watch Destra age too. Sometimes when you hear old people songs, you could imagine David Rudder. This is not this is mad. Just sing this song. It's just too much. We can't take. I don't know if we could take that kind of cussing in calypso from some of the older people. But to me, young people should make themselves feel free. Yes, to go and do whatever they want, and the market will be the judge. I always talk about this in marketing class, right? You must understand who your target audience is, Travis, and then design a product that could appeal to your target audience. You know, as a matter of fact, this is what I'm teaching right now in my marketing class. If you understand your target audience well, you should be able to create something that they want. And maybe you closer to that audience than me. So you might know that is what the soca missing. Maybe check Young Brother, check some of them other youths, but please don't produce no song with Destra had to talk about how she cheer and make and Bungie and Fair. And some of the artists in soca are a little too old for this thing, you know what I mean? I just want Travis to always remember that you're very, very close, right? It's funny how youth this work, because I read in this thing, and no matter how old you get, you just feel the same way. Nobody didn't explain this to me a long time, you know. You just feel the exact same way when you're getting older. Except not your body, right? Your body, your joints and so on don't feel the same way. But in your soul, you're still feeling like any young person. You don't feel no older. Except when you read one of Travis' tweets and you realize you're old like the hills, right? But I want to let Travis know that you out a little while, right? You had Soca Kingdom and you're moving with Voice and you have a whole squad who moving. But I don't know if you're realizing that you and Penny and Voice and Akeem and Salty and who I'm missing my guy, a legend too. One of the DJs who's been with them, a legend. I can't remember the name of fan. But them fellas doing their thing now and they're getting great success, and I like to see where they're pushing the culture. But they had to realize that just now they go be the older ones that people saying stifling them to, So one of the things I always encourage people to do is see if you was feeling stifled, don't stifle nobody, Lego people. So you're getting a chance to do your soca however you want it. I guess what you're saying is that Nicki Minaj help you open my door to cuss stinking soca if you feel like. But don't let me hear people talking about you, Travis, when always talk more old people stifling all and who fighting all your dog and them things. Don't let me hear you and Voice and that whole squad when all done starting to become the older artists already. But y'all are heroes, y'all are legends in your own right, taking nothing away from all you. But don't let me hear the youths to come saying that all you're fighting them down, because one of the funny things in life is that what you find is acceptable now and what you find is explicit now. The younger generation going to push the boundaries even further. And when you reach my age, the things that you arguing that people should sing now, you might well be saying, oh God, these youths going too far. So just be careful. As one of our young heroes, be careful how you're talking about our heroes. And I just want to go back to the great Winston Henry, the explainer. Because coincidentally, he have a song about heroes, which is, to me is one of his greatest songs.
This song is specially dedicated to all my fellow Trinidadians.
Yes.
Trinidad has radiance, Trinidad is nice. When come to the heroes, we got to think twice. We got to learn how to bridge the gap, because there are people make us powerful on the map. The way we treat we heroes with scorn, and also wish they were never born. In other countries I realize their heroes are the ones whom they idolize. Jamaica bury the name of Mali to sing praise to their hero. But in my country we deliberately push the heroes below. Then we admire foreign culture, we treat no else so low. We ought to know we shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. Being a rich country, that isn't all. My people convince me they're not patriotic at all. When they see their heroes, some that suck their teeth and depreciate them all along the streets. Spree Simon died in poverty, yet we never had a state funeral for him. Although he was founder of pan, yet my nation didn't show appreciation. Stevie Wonder to demonstrator for the late Martin Luther, and Jubal Butler, he fought for labor. We watch him die the pauper. Then we admire foreign culture, we treat Crawford so low. We ought to know we shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat a hero so. Ba-ba-la-ba-lang, bang, bang, ba-dang, ba-dang, bang, bang.
Now, person who talk about double entendre in this, right, is only right that we find a double entendre to play from the great explainer as well. And to talk to Travis about why double entendre is so important, the creativity and the writing that goes into double entendre songs. Now, the thing about them is they're not as edgy as the years go by. Because when Sparrow say, tell you Mr. Ben would come, that ain't no big. When you hear the songs like that, might be banned from the radio back in the day. Instead of wonder now, like, what are they banning songs like that for? That's soft. But it's just that when time passed, people's sensitivities change. And when youth push the boundary, it don't ever push back. So all the youths here now singing, I mean, I personally wonder how much more explicit it could possibly get. But I suppose every generation who went through this would have wondered the same thing. That's why I'm not against the youth. Sing whatever all they want to sing. Be happy and enjoy that. I can listen to it, but that don't mean it should not be made, right? And I don't know if that's the point that Travis making. But I personally love the double entendre that calypso and soca music this give us, because it takes a certain amount of creativity and writing to get to those things. I also enjoy getting older and saying, but wait, this is what you were singing about when you sing Saltfish. And it sounds stupid now, but the reality is that when you're small, you just didn't know. And it protects some of the innocence of you too, because I don't feel comfortable listening to that kind of zest music around my son or around children. And it's not made for them, granted. And no knock on the artist at all. It's not made for them, so it should not be played among children. But I like a little double entendre when the adults know what it's about and the children don't know. I want to play one from Explainer here.
Hey, Charlie, who's Miss Palmer? Your wife? How come I never see she here?
Yeah, the double entendre still have plenty meaning to me, and I like it. And I just want to play one of his songs that is, imagine a legend saluting a legend. And this is what challenging Travis Will and some of the youths to do. Regardless of if all you get fight down when all you was younger, right? Forget the fight you get. Study that you here to open the gate for other youths. All these young legends, as I say, pushing the boundary, taking it to a next level again. Everybody had to carry it to a next level. Explain a carry it to a level. Men pick it up and carry it and they bring it for you, regardless of how fight down you feel you get fight down. And this is Explainer singing about another legend who came before him, the great Lord Melody. And I wanted to use this song to tell all you, forget about who was fighting you along. Start to study the youths now who you could uplift, or the elders who you could say, hey, let me do a song and put it together for the great Explainer. Do a song and put it together that respects Lord Melody, the Shadow, whoever it might be that come before you. Because Explainer said his influences in calypso was Valentino, Prowler, Relator, and Lord Superior. So Travis, who is your inspiration in production? Is men like Pelham Goddard and them who come from way before? Or is men like Neil Bernard and Shell Shock? Who it is? You must have inspirations in the music and in the soca or in the industry who you could look up to. Forget who fighting you down and who stifling you, and let me hear you put together something like this that could honor the legends that come before you.
This song is dedicated to the Lord Melody.
Yes.
Mellow, wherever you may be, may eternal rest be granted unto your soul.
Same to you, Explainer.
Yes, it's the greatest honor just to be a calypsonian. But let me tell you, brother, the pressure that we does endure, we got to bust we burn daily to make a melody to keep people dancing and happy. People of my nation, they love competition. Leave the calypso man in a state of depression. Calypso, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. One man enjoys success and you hardly hear about the rest.
Yes.
Calypso, whoa, 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 whoa. Calypso, whoa, 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 whoa. It's too much demand on the calypsonian, but for the love of the culture, I endure the slave master climbing on me knee and sapping my energy. It hard, it hard, it hard. Singing calypso in Trinidad. Whoa, 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 yes, you may love the glamour. You might say calypso is cute. It's so nice to be in culture, but the culture man don't enjoy the fruit. We are over 1 million with a big celebration, yet record sales never reach 50,000. Is all in service. We don't care about expenses or what a brain drain. Keep the artist insane. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Your music would stay behind if you don't join the front line. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. To be a superstar, find a shiny manager, yeah. For the love of the culture, I endure the slave master climbing on my backs and still killing me with tax. It hard, it hard, it hard. Singing calypso in
Trinidad. Bam, bam. As we talking about heroes, I just want to wish a speedy recovery to the great Errol Fabian, one of our national heroes and treasures. Say what you want about Errol. Say what you want about his political career. They say this and that, he always think, and he lost in the house and he begging for money. I don't care. Earl Fabian is one of the legends we have and one of the greatest. And I saw him posting about him being in a car accident. So Earl, we wish you a speedy recovery and we hope you're back soon to continue to represent for the culture. Now, one of the things I didn't cater for when I start these episodes with culture first, right? is that an hour into the thing, I had to get into the people and their politics and the crime and them kind of thing, you know what I mean? Maybe I should go back to what I was doing before, you know, and talk about them things first so that I could enjoy the ending of these episodes where I could talk about calypso and soca and our culture and all these things. But all right, okay. Crime. Now, crime is what it is, right? But one of the sad things I see this week is a man getting shot over a parking space. Oh, let's see that news. All you saw in the little clip was two fellas wrangling it out, and to me, both fellas look kind of big. You know what I mean? That is not the kind of people who you want to be wrangling with. But to me, to be honest, it looked like a decent little fist to fist. You know what I mean? Men coughing it out. That is what's supposed to happen. You know what I mean? If men fall out and them thing. I mean, you're not supposed to fight, right? But if it come down to that, all you wrangle it out and all you hold one another into headlock and somebody go come and par that and all you sort that out. In the midst of all the wrangling and them thing, you see the bigger of the two men start to reach for a gun. Shoot the fella. Now the fella dead. The man children in the car, his wife in the grocery. Why we have to be going through this as a society? Now, I have something to read for you about your boy Fitzgerald Hines, right? It's always fun when you have to read about Fitzgerald Hines, right? It's always a better day when Fitzgerald Hines is on the lineup. But the story that going around now about more and more people on the investigation for the FUL racket, whatever they want to call it, right? They're saying that basically it's too much a racket with the FUL and them kind of thing. And it makes you wonder like where our priorities lie. I'm not saying that we should just sit by and watch illegal things happening with legal firearms in the country, because if illegal things or racket happening where that is concerned, as far as I am concerned, some of those guns that in people's hands, even though they have a FUL, should still be deemed illegal weapons. If you have people who just putting out money and getting a FUL without going through the proper process, if the process is faulty, if the process could be circumvented in any way, both for people who are FUL owners and people who are licensed to sell firearms. I understand that the people who licensed to sell firearms under some fire, no pun intended, because they're getting visits from the police and investigators regularly these days. But when you see a little situation like this, where two men could be wrangling it out because they fall out for nonsense, and the end of the day, only fighting over a car park space. Anytime you see people fighting over a car, it has nothing to do with the car park and them kind of thing. It's your own ego, right? Them kind of road rage and them situations, which we have too much of in this country. Not all of them lead to death like this, but it's just too much of it in the country as a whole. It has more to do with your ego than the bad drive or the parking space or any of them kind of things. And now we see in a situation where some children fatherless, a wife husbandless, and for what? And come to find out that the guy who drew the firearm is a off-duty police officer. So let me read from the Express, right? Just to make sure I have this right. This is from October 8th in the Express. I don't say who it by. The police officer who shot and killed a man on the compound of a supermarket in Cookie, San Fernando, has reported that he shot the man who started a fight after he was warned about smoking what the officer said was marijuana. Jamie Walker was shot twice and died in the parking lot of Wee Supermarket. I didn't realize it was twice. It sounded like once he was shot. His children witnesses that the Special Reserve Police Officers, or SRP, who killed Walker, said that at around 4 p.m. he was at the supermarket when he noticed Walker seated in a Nissan B15 parked in the supermarket's car park, smoking a cigarette of unusual length, and a strong pungent odor emanated. The SRP said he formed the opinion that Walker was smoking marijuana and informed him of the offense of smoking in a public place. You can't smoke in public. I thought you could smoke a little bit of grams or something. You can't smoke in public. Well, I guess smoking in public in general, you can't do. You could smoke a cigarette. I'm confused now. I thought you could have a little bit of weed and smoke a little bit of weed. Anyway, he said Walker became agitated, exited the vehicle, and a scuffle started. The officer said Walker hit him several blows about his face and body. During the scuffle, the officer said he felt Walker grabbing for his firearm, which was on the right side of his waist, so he grabbed the firearm and shot Walker twice. Responding officers took possession of a pistol, 28 rounds of 9mm ammunition, and two spent shells. The CCTV footage from the supermarket was also taken. Walker 39, a former soldier. So this man is an old soldier and an SRP. Like, what are they fighting over a spliff? And a man had to end up dead for this one. The father of four from Orchid Gardens. His wife, Heather Cedeno Walker, was in shock as she told reporters that three of the children seated in the family's car when the shooting occurred, mere feet from them. White children must be traumatized, I guess. Cedeno Walker said, I'm confused. Everything happened so fast. When the shots fired, the three children started to bawl, daddy, daddy. She asked him, as the duty officer, how come he do this? He said, as a police officer, and he showed me the badge. So these, I mean, boy, listen, these things so unfortunate when they happen. My first thought and the first report was that it was road rage. So I come armed with some things to tell her later get over road rage. Because I find personally, to be honest, like I suffering from a little road rage on the road these days. When I had to drop Zachary to school every morning, there were a few points at which you could get real vex on the highway, right? If you know South, when you reach down the highway to make the turn back to come up by UTT, what used to be Sando Tech back in the day, and you're dropping children to school in the morning, it's have a long line there. I just try to just join the back of the line and wait, and the traffic this flow, it's slow, but it's going to school time. I don't think it's not a problem to me. And you know, we have this mentality that we're in traffic, when the reality is that we are traffic. We are not in traffic. We are traffic. It's a part of the problem, you know. You're not in traffic like all these other people inconveniencing you. You are the traffic. But so I just sit down and wait. But they have some men who, like taxi drivers in particular and others, who don't seem to want to join the line quite up by the Ruba side. They want to reach when they don't reach under the bridge and by the thing and cut in by a car. It is annoying. It gets me upset. Number one, I feel it's how they do it too, you know, because they're cutting you off in a way where you cannot roll up. If you roll up, you will hit them. And sometimes I feel just to ram them slight, just so that both of we whole day throw off. Me and nothing to do any day come. So let both of we go in the police station and see about this where you were trying to break a line like a fool. You could just wait. It's taxi you're driving. You're working on the road. If your passengers don't understand that, and I wonder what passengers in the car say to the driver at times. Maybe they don't say nothing because it's helping them reach the work earlier. When you swing back now and you have to take the right to go up into St. Joseph Village or Koki or whatever it's called, it has some people now, you're by the filter lane to turn right. Are you waiting on the light? Them coming down the lane going straight and cutting you off the same way or coming wrong you. Listen, it is very, very annoying, some of these things. The next part in South is getting mad is you see by that roundabout by South Park on an evening, the driving there for people coming from Marabella. So it's some people leaving Sando and trying to get to Princestown. Some people leaving Sando trying to get north. And some people coming from Marabella heading Princestown or Marabella to go further south. The driving around that roundabout is atrocious. I gave Junior Regrello a lot of credit in the beginning of the year when it was very, very bad on the first day of school. And he came out personally with his officers to make sure that it could flow. They make a good decision to stop the traffic from coming from South Park side to joining back that road. So now all of them had to head back to the roundabout. But Junior, we need more people. We need more police there on an evening. It's bad. The driving is atrocious. Sometimes people good at policing themselves, but other times we're not so great. And people cutting off one another is a matter of time. And let me tell you something, all the rush will be rushing sometimes. You ever notice the littlest accident, this throw off days of your life? Because now you have to go and make an agreement with this man or go by the police station and see about the bongs. Then you have to go and get an estimate here. Then you have to carry your car to get your car fixed. That's a day or two, you're out again. The littlest bongs is caused the greatest inconvenience. So while you we're rushing to reach somewhere, the smallest accident going to make you days late rather than being minutes late. You know what I mean? Throw off your whole schedule. But I don't know. It's something that I try to observe in myself and better myself overall so that I'm not dealing with this every day and dealing with this. Come here and doing nobody nothing. You know, I just take my licks like how I take my licks with my boy Peanut. I'm not trying to do nobody nothing. But I don't want to be boiling up and bubbling up in myself. And these two men clearly bubble up and boil up to the point where one all you're going now and this officer probably facing charges at some point in time or having to answer for what he did. Although nowhere in the article I saw that he was charged with anything. They said they get the gun and all them things from him, I guess, to do investigation. But I haven't seen up to this point where he was charged. So I was looking for ways to avoid road rage. I'm going to share these with you, right? I'm really talking to myself here, you know, to try and make sure that I don't end up in a road rage situation. Because sometimes I feel like to turn on my glass and say something, although I ain't had the belly to do it. So first, give yourself time to get where you're going. This is very real for me. The reality is this. I only feel that way when I am a little late for dropping Zachary. I like to leave here before 7 o'clock, but some mornings I just end up leaving a little late. And to be honest with you see them days where I'm a little late and I'm feeling like I need to rush and Zachary ain't gonna make it by 8:30 and I'm late for work, I'm late for the gym and everything. I find myself a little more on edge during them times. So I accept this fully and I'm going to try my best to leave where I'm going on time and to also accept that when I move late, I may be late. You can't leave late and expect to reach early at everybody else's expense, right? The men say number 2, don't drive while experiencing intense emotion. If you had a frustrating day at work or got into a fight with a dear friend, you might not be in the best headspace to get behind the wheel. But this is from the defensivedriving.org, right? But I don't know if they ever come to Trinidad because sometimes it's like every day you could be in an intense emotional state, because a man say he ain't running for prime minister no more, but he running back for lead. Anyway, we'll get to that just now. Build positive driving habits. I think this is something that I need to take on board fully. Don't speed through traffic or weave through vehicles. Avoid cutting off other vehicles or making rude gestures or remarks. They say these behaviors could be dangerous. I want to keep this in mind, particularly in light of what happened to this man, and rest in peace to him and condolences to his family. Happened to the man outside the grocery. Whether it's legal gun or illegally acquired legal guns, this is a place that have plenty gun. Don't underestimate nobody. Don't feel like you could tell anybody anything, because it could escalate very fast in this country. So better you instead of focusing on who cutting you off and things, focus on you not cutting off nobody. Build positive driving habits. Take your time. Stay in the left lane unless overtaken. Stay under the speed limit. Don't cut. And even when you cut somebody off, just apologize. Say sorry about that. You know what I mean? So sorry. You know these signals to say a little sorry and them kind of thing. This is very, very Trinidadian. I want to say Trinidadian, Guyanese, Jamaican. Use your horn if necessary. Car horns are just one small hand movement away, but they are primarily designed for emergency use. Lay off the horn and show people a little grace. I want to say that hard horn only want to blow when men by the traffic light. Yes, I'm my phone, right? I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that too. But oh God, just give me a nice little kick. You know what I mean? You could just go kick, because this happens to you too. Always be on your phone sometime when the car stop the long and the lights ain't change, you know, and heavy. All right, I'll try to, maybe that's my number 4.5. Stay off your phone while you're driving, right? Be understanding other drivers is a nice thing to do, you know. When you see somebody cut you off in traffic, tell yourself, boy, the man have a sick child in the hospital. He must really had to reach South fast and reach Port of Spain. You know what I mean? What is called again? San Fernando General fast to see about the child. Boy, you know, somebody in the car must be in labor. Whatever. They might be having a worse day than you. They might be in much worse circumstances than you. So just give people grace and try your best to allow them, as we say in Trinidad, right? They say ways to avoid road rage from other drivers. Remove yourself from the situation, like run. Ignore them if they're being rude. Number 2, call for help if necessary. And as I say, apologize. Work on your horn, that is to say sorry. Or, you know, sometimes you just point a little hazard light to the man behind you to say, oh, sorry about that. I think we had to evolve past a certain point. I always observe that when I travel too. Like, we talk about being a better country, you know what I mean? And being a better country not going to come just with infrastructure and better roads or even better leadership and better politics. They're not going to come from there. They're going to come from us and how we relate and deal with one another. So when I travel, one of the first things I notice is that there's a level of courtesy on the road, maybe outside of Uber drivers. I find little Uber drivers in Miami driving a little hard. You know what I mean? I don't like that too much. But we could develop a level of courtesy on the road and just make the roads the safest place to drive outside of the potholes. And don't get no altercation with nobody in these streets. We got to be here, you know. My listenership, I know it's starting to grow a listenership here. I need everyone all here to be back here next week. In more crime, I see something saying Ratan's owner robbed during home invasion. After hogtying and robbing businessman Mohan Ratan, 2 gunmen escaped by sea, taking with them 2 bags laden with cash and valuables. The robbery occurred around 4 a.m. at the businessman's mansion in Sunset Cove in La Romaine. Wait, no. Hey, the owner of Ratan's buy house in Ratan? Oh, this looking like plenty of house for the price of one, just like Ratan's product. Anyway, this is not no joke story. They say police said Ratan, the owner of Ratan's free zone, was at home with his wife when the bandits entered the property, believing the men were employees. Ratan opened the gates. The sprawling seafront property is usually manned by pit bulls. That's what I was told to Guardian Media. The robbers removed the barbed wires from the eastern side of the property and jumped over a wall. This is another thing outside of the road rage and them thing. This is becoming more and more the norm in Trinidad. You see this house invasion thing. I asking people in the powers that be. Because I saw another article with a woman who killed some bandits trying to come in by her, and maybe we're starting to reach the point where, as I said a few weeks ago, police can't protect us again and they can't do enough, so it's time to arm yourself and make sure that you're good. Because I still are so torn on this idea of a FUL and me having to walk around with that. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. But what I will tell you is that you see this home invasion thing where people could just kick in your door and come in your place of solitude and your sanctuary and your family, and you helpless inside her. I could tell you for sure that I don't like that. If all sort out all yourself with the FUL thing now, whether it's legal or I shouldn't say illegal. However, all you sorting out all your things, sort it out so that a law-abiding citizen like Mr. Rattan could just get some things to protect himself in his home. Not saying that he didn't have, but if he doesn't, and this process is so outside of the corruption that's going on, the process cumbersome. You're applying, there's no way to follow up on the application. Somebody sent me last week Jamaica approval process. You could track your application at any step along the way and understand where you are with the issue of a firearm. But sorry to Mr. Mohan and Mr. Rattan and his family. I hope that they could find ways to recover from this, and that's a hard thing to come back from mentally. But I hope that they get the solace they need and make sure that they protect themselves, because if you own a big business like Rattan's, you're surely a target, right? Reading from the Newsday here by Shane Superville. This is from some time ago, right? But Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines says a collaborative effort between different agencies locally and internationally is needed to properly address the entry of weapons into Trinidad and Tobago. Speaking at a destruction exercise for the confiscated, obsolete, and unserviceable weapons at the Police Training Academy. You know, these fellas and them is real jokers. I see a video going around the other day with Fitzgerald Hines trying to cut an AR-15 in half using some kind of machine. And the way that he hold up this thing and everybody clap on them thing, people just follow politicians or something else. No, everybody clap in this big way. Like, hey, you just use a saw and cut a gun. Okay, Ray, that's a big thing. And he holds up like this triumph. I thought his illegal guns, them cutting, me realize it's a destruction exercise for obsolete and unserviceable vehicle weapons. And I guess, well, yeah, some of them confiscated, I guess. So they had to destroy them. The ceremony also marked the signing of the MOU between CARICOM Impacts and the Mines Advisory Group, on the framework of the destruction of weapons and fire explosives in the region. Referring to the Prime Minister's announcement that crime will be treated as a public health emergency, Hines went further, saying, like TNT's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, a prolonged approach involving different agencies was needed. He goes on to say, a view that is now shared by the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly the government of Jamaica, that crime and criminality, the crisis that we face, must not now be seen as it is probably should have been a long time. I say that wrong, right? But you understand what I mean? As a public health issue. Now, the thing about COVID, when COVID was a public health issue, we had a Minister of Health crying every day. I mean, on TV every day, making announcements, telling us how many people passed, what kind of comorbidities they had, and so on. We had a CMO who went on to be a Order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago holder on TV every day, explaining to us what is happening, what we should do, how we should take precaution. Since this announcement of crime being treated as a public health issue, I have to say that I've seen very little that would tell me that this is a public health crisis. At least if I'm to compare it to what was happening during COVID and how seriously we took that. I don't see anywhere near that kind of approach where crime is concerned. So the home invasions going up, the robberies going up, the murders. So you could be, again, in public spaces in broad daylight and shot firing and people dying. That is chaos and anarchy in a society, if you ask me. And if you say you're going to treat it as a public health issue, well, treat it like a public health issue. Be in touch with us all the time. Say what it is. But I guess there's no benefit to doing that. There seems to be a lot of benefit to being present every day where COVID is concerned. And when I say benefit, we see politicians, when I say benefit, I usually not talking about benefit to the people, There seems to have been a lot of benefit for the politicians themselves, because I guess Terence Dialson going there facing questions every day about a crisis that was not his doing, or maybe even not his responsibility. The whole world seen us going through this, but I don't know if they want to come and face the public or face the media every day to talk about crime that they're supposed to have measures in place for to try to fix, according to your manifesto, and one of the reasons that you were elected and re-elected. But anyway, talking about election and re-election, PNM is making moves. So PNM, what is called this now? I want to say local government elections. What is called this again? Internal elections is afoot. And the PNM is moving fast ahead to ensure that you have brand new representatives to love hate over the next 5 years when they get re-elected, according to them, right? And I remember distinctly Dr. Rowley saying that this is his last term as Prime Minister and he will be stepping down, win or lose, whatever is to happen. He moving aside from the politics, or at least from the leadership of the country, come 2025. He has, however, put himself back in the ring to be political leader of the PNM once again. Now, I don't know if it means that it could well be that he's political leader going back into this election. But if they win, somebody else will be appointed Prime Minister. I can tell you who not going to be appointed Prime Minister is Karen Who-nez Texeira, who has decided to go against Dr. Rowley. Boy, listen. See, Karen Who-nez Texeira, this is a strange one for me. I don't know if people who follow the politics more might know more about this, or why she running, or where she come out from. But she is putting her hat in the ring as an option for PNM leadership. Now, I don't know if people remember who Karen Who-nez Texeira is or what she was made famous for. In the not too distant past, there was a company by the name of Clico and the CIB, who just recently, I see an article with the central bank saying no, after how much years, they finally completely out of Clico, if I read right about that, right? But there was this big issue that happened that within weeks before CIB closed down, Karen Who-nez Texeira got all her money out of there, while other people were left to suffer to be able to get back the money from a company that was basically being, not in dissolution, but being taken over by the government for what is called that, austerity measures. They basically saved the company, or decided to bail out the company but take control of it, which means that many people would have had the pensions in Clico or the deposits in CIB would have problems getting back the money, but not the great Karen Who-nez Texeira. And this is why she has my support for leadership, because she knows how to get out of tight situations and how to strategize and think maybe better than anybody else. But anyway, we're going from the Newsday. This is by Clint Chantak. Former PNM government minister Karen Who-nez Texeira says her decision to challenge the Prime Minister, her former cabinet colleague and friend for leadership of the party, was not an easy one, but she believes that she has no other choice because of the challenges facing the people of Trinidad and Tobago today. Newsday spoke with her on Sunday after she interviewed on Saturday evening at 95.9. That's a radio station. She told the host that she was challenging Dr. Rowley for the leadership, or for the post of political leader in the party's election on December 4th. She's eligible to be a candidate in the election as she's a lifetime member of the party. That. On why she chose to do so, she said it was not too different from what happened in 1997 when Rowley challenged the then PNM political leader Patrick Manning for party leadership. Rowley's challenge to Manning happened after Manning lost the 1995 general election. Manning retained his post in 1997, but eventually Rowley was there, right? Who-nez Texeira also recalled that Rowley challenged Manning's leadership as Prime Minister after he was fired from the cabinet in 2008 after raising questions about corruption at UDCOT. In both cases, Who-nez Texeira said, "I can't recall anyone challenging his commitment to the party." What? Which was, anyone challenging for PNM's leadership is not someone who is opposed to the PNM. Listen, she and Rollers work out this out. Them decide that, well, all right, we had to have some kind of challenge, you know what I mean? I don't want to go up like unopposed. So here, what, you go run, and we know you go lost. There was a post on Instagram now, not seeing now, where they asked her outright if she feels she have a chance, and she stopped just short of saying she have no chance. Like, as you know, I mean, a snow cone in hell. She stopped just short of saying I have no chance, and I don't know why exactly I'm doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. I see she a great Dr. Butcher right next to her. I'm not sure what happened to that, but this will soon be forgotten. It's almost like this too shall pass, because I'm not sure why she's... Here's an odd one. I saw Maxine Richards going up for a post. She said that post was vacant. One of the things that I want to play for you here, right? I want you to listen to this carefully. This is Nyan Gadsby-Dolly leaving the office after filing her papers. Hear this, right? No, here now. She just filed her papers, and she leaving the place where she filed her papers. And what we're hearing is the voice of several PNM supporters waving flags. I don't know if to call them PNM supporters or Nyan Gadsby-Dolly supporters or both. And I'm trying to figure, like, these people are done to do when the day come. What's all your work? How in the middle of a day, on a Monday nonetheless, how you have time to go there and wave like the price of gas ain't gone up for your coal pot and burning over? What is going on home by you? That you could leave what you're doing on Monday. You know, on the clock. Or this is the clock. They're getting paid to be there. And come and wave PNM flag for people who come to file their papers. And while she walking out, they walking out waving flag behind her. Listen, I could ever support politics and them thing. I don't understand politics well enough. But these kind of foolishnesses make me wonder what the hell is going on where politics is concerned. But we'll keep our eye on the PNM internal elections, because of course that affects us nationally. And let me see what become of it. You expect anything to change? I don't know. In other news, FIFA is satisfied with TTFA's audited financial statements. Hey, Ole better free Jack Warner, you know. Ole just go by Jack Warner and free him. Do not extradite him for nothing. Do not send this man to jail. Because these men have the audacity to say audited finance. Who ordered this? I want to see what firm ordered this, you know, because they ain't saying clearly. Is it PricewaterhouseCoopers? Is it Ernst & Young? I have several people who listen to this podcast and account, and I'll call them by name: Karen Etienne, Andrew Burton, Hinks. These fellas, big accountants. Were you all involved in this audit of TTFA? What are they saying? AGs? At an annual general meeting on September 21st, the controversial home of football in Balmain, Couva, Karen Edwards, president of the Eastern Football Association, received tremendous support in delaying the approval of the audited financials based on 5 main reasons, such as erroneous reporting, unauthorized removal of fixed assets, presentation of financial statements in an environment of bankruptcy and insolvency, neglected disclosure to financial statements, and increased debt under the normalization committee. So, a man here trying to fight the thing, but FIFA say, here what's going on? This good. FIFA say, here what is he seeing? You see these statements we have here? Bravo, good job. We have everything sorted out where it is concerned. Listen, you see these kind of organizations, something where 1 or 2 men become the fall guys for this thing. Nothing ain't changing FIFA. All now, we don't know who win the World Cup already in any given year, but FIFA went and gave the World Cup to a country where it's hot like hell, literally. And we had to wait until end of November to start seeing World Cup games where it's at least a little bit cool. It's affecting all the football going around the world in all the regions. Had to make a pause for international break that would have never come in any other year before. But that is FIFA for your money. And these fellas undefeated and undefeatable. So apparently TTFA is in the clear as far as FIFA is concerned, at least. And the audited financials checking off. So there was no wrongdoing. Exonerate these people. Clear the name of David John Williams. Clear the name of Jack Warner. Let these people be free to travel and live. Now, I'm going to get out of here. You know, it's almost my time. My time is up. But as we on sports news, I would like to finish with my favorite explainer of all time. The man says his selfie was singing about him.
Where you going this early morning with all my money?
Yo, I go in my 8s on
Elaine cussing she husband Tim with the money wasting in English racing. Buying books from White in London, checking the horse information. He know who is Colt and who is Philly, who with the Oaks and with the Derby. This English racing have him like a fool, throwing away all the bread in the pool. But Monday morning, in the evening, evening races, double losses. Man, I want a divorce. Better get married to a horse. Yes, I want a divorce. Monday to Sunday you playing horse. Diggity, 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 diggity. As you reach home in the evening, he up with the newspaper researching. The man in no time for me. He talking about Colton and Ellery. He know who's the horse mother and father, who is the owner and the trainer. This stupid man, he ain't had no shame. He don't even know his grandmother name. But Monday morning, in the evening, evening races, double losses. Man, I want a divorce. Better get married to a horse. Yes, I want a divorce. Monday to Sunday you're playing horse. Diggy dick, diggy dick, diggy dick, diggy dick, diggy dick, diggy dick.
Hey, the great explainer, the Winston Henry. Legend, right? So I'll leave it all there, you know, for this episode. All who say they like calypso and thing, or they plenty calypso in this episode. There's some you might know, some you might not know, but continue to check out the catalog of the great explainer, because the little I do in a little hour here could never explain how great this man was in calypso and how much he do to change the tone of calypso and lead to where all of us are today, who doing anything related to this genre or this culture. So salute and rest in peace to the great explainer. And as for y'all, take your time this week. Stay safe, stay dry, there's plenty rain. Stay safe on your roads too, so that you're feeling good and you're reaching home safe. I will talk to you all in next week.